Hey guys, welcome back to another Gunpla video, and we're going to be trying a new format this time. And I'm going to be showing you this Master Grade Testament, one of the coolest Gundams I've ever built. I kind of want this unit. Yeah, so it came to be pre-built, and it already had paint on most sections of it. And a lot of it was damaged, scraped, obviously the nub marks. And there were some parts that were actually missing and actually broken here. So in the beginning, I'm going ahead and removing as much paint that I can, because I'm not really sure what kind of paint's being used. And there's some portions where there's some actual, I think, enamel or some other type of paint that I'm not really sure of. But we had some of these alcohol wipes that I decided to use here, and that kind of worked out pretty alright rather than dipping the entire piece. I think dipping the piece would have made it completely faster. That probably would have helped me out there. And of course I had to lift the decals up. Now it's hard to tell by just looking at it which sections were actually painted. A lot of the red sections were actually painted. There was some gold splashed in a lot of areas. From what my memory serves, I think that was pretty much the only color, and plus some silver. So some accents, maybe some grays. But a lot of sections were painted in that like magenta red type style there. And that wing here was already kind of breaking. So I wanted to make sure I was kind of gentle with everything. I want to fix as least as possible. Here I'm using a part remover to kind of get these stiff parts off. Some of the paint definitely makes the parts more sticky. If it gets in the grooves, of course. I think some of it was lined as well. But this is pretty much seems to be one of those projects where they kind of just touched it up. They kind of just color corrected it and call it a day. But of course, they opted to go in for the full package with us. So I didn't charge for any kind of restoration work. I'm not gonna lie, quite honestly, I didn't know. I kind of got it and just says, you know what, we're just gonna use this as a learning opportunity. So a lot of free extra work here, but we're just going for it. If anything, we learned something out of it. Here we have like this one cool piece that goes in this arm, and it was hand painted with that red again on the sides. But as you can see in the middle, there's a silver line. Looked like the silver scales. That was impossible to get off. I couldn't get that off, and not with the isopropyl alcohol. I think I ended up trying thinner. I'm not really sure if it ended up being like a Sharpie pen for that. As you can see, I'm really trying to get as much alcohol off this thing as possible, to trying to get the paint weakened and then kind of just scrape it off, because I think this was the only wipe I had, so I had to just do what I could. And as you can see, that silver is being untouched, unfazed, so it must have been some kind of enamel. So here I take the entire thing apart, and I'm really trying to get at it because I'm going to paint with behind the piece, so I need to get that too. And as you can see, look at that. Can't get it off. I got some of it off, but wasn't budging. So I think we decided to just like worry about it a little bit later and focus on the rest. Oh, that was a weird idea. That seems like I tried to get the alcohol on the brush itself to try to get it off. Yeah, it's impervious, man. So right now I'm trying to find like all the color and see if it works. Okay, this gold wipes off. Sure, we're gonna go ahead and get all the gold off of all the pieces here. Sorry for the camera going in and out. This is recording off of my, I think I was actually using my actual phone at the time for this, because it just has a better camera and it focuses a lot faster. If I was using my web camera, for some reason that focuses really, really slowly. If you're already digging this style, guys, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for us. And we have plenty more where that came from. I do have a lot of footage. Some I may not be able to do in the same exact style because there's a lot of background noise, so we might have to throw some music over those. But overall, I have a lot of this to go around. It's just some of my older videos that took just a long time to create, and I just didn't have the bandwidth. So here I'm trying to get the decals off, and that was my first attempt, and that was a wash. And I was like, maybe I could use sandpaper. I don't want they would do that. And then I had this ingenious idea to use the decal softer. I don't know where that came from. If you would have asked me that today, I would have forgot. But these decals didn't have any gloss on them. They didn't have any gloss protection. They were just kind of just straight raw. So I went ahead and see if this is going to go ahead and penetrate as much as it can. It's only going to do so much, right? Because that adhesion is still there as well. But if you guys don't know, like on decal softener, it's like your greatest ally and your greatest enemy, because it really makes those decals super thin, super easy to rip. And this is a portion that I think, pre-put the softer on, and it was coming off a little bit easier. So there's decals all throughout this thing, and we went ahead and used this method to get most of it off. Yep, just spotted some more of that gold. Now this was an impressive use of the gold here, because it is kind of like those heat sink. I like the feet. I like the high heels on this. It looks really cool. One of the main reasons I like doing commissions is purely the fact that a lot of these kits I may not ever buy myself, but I at least get the opportunity to build them and of course paint them up. And that's for me the entire experience. Now I do love looking at my kits when they're in cases, but at least I have the memories through here. I remember kind of just looking at the bottom of his foot like, wow, this has a lot of detail. Can't wait to get on that. Sometimes a lot of those detail areas you don't really need to do too much. You just kind of dry brush it and it comes to life itself here. So we found some of that gold. See, oh, we actually got some. 70%. Not sure if that's the right strength. Yeah, I think usually we go for 91, but we get what we can get. I had the ingenious idea to use like a Q-tip to get in there, it seems. Since the entire kit wasn't painted, I think I was, and of course didn't have too much alcohol. I didn't want to, fully submerge these things. And you may notice I'm using latex gloves. These are not my gloves of choice. They get really slippery. But they were also unavailable. The nylon gloves were also unavailable, so I couldn't get those. I believe this was around the time of the pandemic, so a lot of those specific items were not available. Just use what I can get. And these are kind of small, so you can see that they're really hugging my hands here. It gets pretty crampy if you don't wear the right size gloves. It makes your hands hurt after so long. And as you can see, I'm able to get into all these crevices. So it was a lot of highlighted red here, highlight gold. He kind of went in on this thing, I'm not gonna lie. My tip to you guys are, if you want to do at least this, I would say go for some kind of top coat as well, because it's still going to look like a toy overall, just with splotches of like paint around. For example, if you put the red on first and then hit it with the top coat and then finish it off with the metallic, so at least you have those two different types of sheens there. Do the metallic slash. I like doing the metallic slash. I usually don't top my metallics. Let me know in the comments below if you top yours. Very, very, very rarely. It depends on like the kind of shine I'm going for. Will I top it off with a gloss? And it definitely changes it. It changes it to like a shiny gloss rather than like straight metallic. But it really depends on the color. All right, here we go for something that I don't see a lot of people doing, but this is something I've included in my workflow. It does add a whole new length to it, but it definitely helps out. The work primer here, as you can see, it's a lot of scrapes. We had to get all those decals off now. And this work primer is like this thick grit, 500. It's really gritty. So it's going to get into those areas there. And as you can see, we're only going with the thinnest of layers just to kind of like ghost it. And it's to find mainly any kind of like real big flaws. You know, our second coat is going to be like the main way to find the best flaws here. But this is going to be like to find the minor flaws. And of course, set us up for a good work area. Because this particular kit, they requested light scribing, so they wanted some scribing somewhere. Heavy scribing is where I opt to scribe every single piece that comes with it. I'm kind of glad he didn't didn't do that, but I always go more than what they ask. So I actually went like a medium scribe. If I see the opportunity and I want to take the advantage of it, I go ahead and go for it. As I'm looking at it right now, I know I put some scribe marks on that kneecap. Just all these free real estate there. One of the main reasons why I like less detailed kits. I get more appreciation for the high grade kits because they're a little bit more flatter surfaces. They're more clear canvases, whereas I think like a real grade is more so like a coloring book. Like the picture is already there for you. All you need to do is just color it. Whereas a high grade is I guess you could say, a sketchbook. You know, no one's really gonna like how it looks until you put in the work into it. Here I'm going a little bit slow because I'm trying to go for even throughout the whole thing, but I opted to I usually keep the pieces together, like this whole entire leg, because it doesn't need to be, of course, perfect. It's all about surface checks at this point. As you can see, the scrapes of the knee was popping up there. Probably hard to see right now after I pointed it out, and you probably can't see it. Yep, see the scrapes of the knee? Easy to see now. Went ahead and go for the complicated piece as well. The chest on these strays look really cool. Quite honestly, this is one of the more detailed pieces. I don't think I put much scribe work all around it. Maybe on the very top, see that plate there on the chest? That seems like prime real estate. Otherwise, I was just probably going for a check on some major things here, making sure. And another reason why I use the work primer is because I usually sand later. I build my kits and then I work prime them. And then the nubs that kind of like poke out at you. And then if there's a nub that's actually not hit with the work primer, that's how you know that that nub is actually not visible. Now, obviously, it depends on your kit. Sometimes you want to make sure you get, depending on how you're going to pose it, that nub may accidentally appear out of nowhere, like underneath the flaps, for example, in the skirt, or underneath the shoulders, which I sometimes miss. See, as you can see there, I didn't put any work in there because I'm just looking for surface checks here. Right now I'm just reassembling it because kind of like you want to see the full picture of your canvas, right? So I always do this. I'm not sure if Gunpla people put theirs together at this particular stage. I know we always put it together first. I know model builders are kind of like why? I think even miniature builders build their entire kits first. I think they have to. I think they have to assemble it first before they paint it. But since ours are so complicated and they have a lot of moving parts, you have to essentially disassemble it. And it's like Legos. You put it together first so you can understand here. So here I got this super cool architecture pencil that I found, a 0.3. See, as you can see there, it's super easy to write on. Now the 0.3s are like needles, so you can definitely carve in. See right there, you can see the details, and on the crotch area, my pencil marks, and on the back flap. Now I use these the guided tape to go over the markings I put. Then we're gonna use our scribing tool See, I'm trying to hold in an awkward position so you guys can see here. That point 2 is my go-to. The point 2 is like thin, just thin enough to still be usable on both high grades and master grades, and thick enough that to a point where it's like not as brittle. Like, I guess I would say I never had a really good point 5. Maybe I'll look into again when I'm looking at the SAB and getting a good point 5 there. But my point 5s were always for like display, and they always end up snapping off. So I have like 2, it's already snapped. Can't say display makes bad products, but I can't really recommend their scribing. Now it is definitely easier on the wallet, and that's the reason why I went for it in the first place. But this guide tape, you definitely need it, guys. Unless you're like got the perfect hands. Very few Gunpla builders have like these so precision hands where they can just draw a straight line. Look at that. Sometimes the plastic is so unforgiving, like that scriber just got caught like within the molding itself. I had to just go through it. Bam. Alright, and this is my nerd work. I made sure I wrote the numbers down to make sure I can mimic it on both sides and on both wings. And I kind of do this throughout sometimes. I might make a notch, a star, a dot, make sure all the symbols line up, things like that. Because I think I've had some past builds where I look at one side and look at the other, and like the lines are not matching up. I'm like, my goodness, we can't be doing that, especially for a customer. As you can see here, I'm using this display sanding plate, and those ones I actually like because they're not too overwhelmingly large, and they come with their own adhesive strips. You just put them on, boom, good to go, and they're fairly cheap, and they do the job. And as you see, I put it together again. We do a refit so we can get the full picture. And if you want to pause it, you can take a look at all the scribe lines. You probably won't notice what scribe, but we did scribe marks pretty much on all the flat surfaces, on the skirt, on the shoulder blades, things like that. In here, we have something that wasn't even requested of the client, but it came with the kit. It came with the base, actually. As you can see, it came with that red there, that burgundy red. Now, this is my first time ever tackling a base, and I was like, you know what, the hell, this isn't something that he asked for. If I mess it up, well, it can't be that bad, right? I think maybe I just want to get enough nubs off, the ones that are pointing outwards, but there's one that's like pointing in. We probably don't need to worry about that, as long as it's smooth. Yep, do the nail check there, and we're good to go. Hit it with a toothbrush. I love the toothbrush, guys. One of the best tools in Gunpla building. Get yourself an old toothbrush. And as you can see here, look at me. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just trying some way to find, because I only have like these sticks from Infinity. They're really good, but this one's like used up. I'm more so smearing dead plastic over this thing than actually sanding it. But my goal is to get some of these surface issues off, like this. I had a lot. Let's see, okay, you see a lot of these surface, you know, that could actually also be covered with the primer. But like these bases were so slick that I didn't want to chance anything, so I wanted to just create some rough surface for the primer here. Alright, now it looks like I found the rhythm. I just use a paper towel to get it off. Now obviously this isn't gonna fully clean it, right? We're gonna definitely wash this piece afterwards, but we're just getting most of the blemish off. Now in the future, when I can invest in it, I want to get like a nice um, like air intake to pull out all that sand, that those particle flakes in the air. So here we're not really, I guess, scribing, but we're just getting through these lines again to deepen them, because as we sand, we essentially make the lines thinner. You don't want to have any inconsistencies, right? Because when we prime it, when we paint it, all those lines are going to be getting filled in. So we want to make sure by the time we're at the lining portion that we still have plenty of real estate to work with. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, now these things, I was like, this is going to be a headache. It's like split down the middle throughout the whole thing, but this is something you cannot, like, at least I don't have the method of doing it, sealing these things together. Just because of how they're designed. But I'm like, you know what? Let's just get off what we can. Make it look as good as we can. Now this base is entirely too red, so definitely stay tuned to the end of the process so you can see which direction we actually went with this particular base here. At this point in time, I didn't have the color template in my mind. I was just trying to just getting ready. Now if you guys are wondering, my go-to working grit is 400 actually. For getting off nubs, and then I move to 600, and then like I end off with 800. That's for like my working. I don't really use too much else. I may hit the thousands, the 1200 plus, if I'm like trying to go for a smoother look. It really depends on the area. But for these back end pieces here, and we're gonna put the rough, doing that nail filing there. Gotta get in there. Now these tools are from Infinity. You should check those out, guys. You gotta cut your own sanding paper with it. But it's really awesome. They're like these holders in different shapes, like triangles. So here we have the gun. The gun looks really, really good, but it comes in those two pieces, of course. It looks awful once it's clamshelled together. And we kind of got to go fast with this deluxe cement here. I think that's the strongest cement I own. Or I think I have one that's stronger than this one, but I really use that only for melting things fully, completely melting to make like paste. But for this here, I find it's a little bit more reliable than the normal cement, of course. That's all I use this for, is for binding pieces together.
No one else bid on it, and I went round the next day and collected it. So transfers, yeah, most of the parts out.
Yep, and I use these little grip claws. I forgot where I got these things from. Maybe like the dollar store or something. I forgot where I got those things from. Yep. And I just put all the pieces in a container, and then I wash them with some Dawn soap.
America, home prices have gone up 45% year over year, and they build, just like Houston, morning homes and apartments are pretty much.
So here's one of the pieces that, of course, another thing that I didn't have the clue on how to correct. We had a bent V-fin and a snapped part from the V-fin, and it wasn't in the box. This was pre-broken when we got it. So the old piece. So we grab some evergreen polystyrene here. Not even sure. This is like the closest size I got. So when I broke a piece off, do a little eye test here. I'm like, I guess that's gonna have to work. Sometimes you have to say, F it, we ball, right? Go for it, go trust it. And like the thing is, like, there's not enough surface area. That's the part that's really I have worried by putting this piece on. It's not like I can put like a maybe like a metal stick in there to kind of reinforce it. So I'm not gonna show you the whole hold, but I held this thing for like maybe 10 minutes, just to triple check to make sure that anything didn't fall off. So I cut it down and just started filing. And I'm filing extremely soft, guys. I'm just letting it rub, because I feel like any real pressure would have brought this piece off, and I would have been back to the cement. And there it is. We got it on there. And we do a little bit of fixing later because it is a little bit, you know, bubbly on the end, but I didn't record that part. So here's all the pieces, nice and washed now. No, I didn't wash them in isopropyl. I just did it in Dawn soap. So you'll see some of the primer still on there, but it's nice and smooth. Now, in some cases, you definitely should take the primer off because it could make those extra layers. And you can kind of see through it. We are confident we can handle it. And of course, I call this stage the sticks. You got to get them on the sticks. It's so tedious. It's so long. And all these are custom made sticks, guys. I didn't buy any of them. You should not buy pre-made sticks. Just buy the clips, guys, and buy the bamboo sticks and do it yourself. These right here, these cat scratch boards, I also made these. Just if you buy enough Amazon stuff, have enough boxes laying around, you can make these yourself. Just use the lid of a Gunpla box. If you guys want to know how to do all these tips and tricks, let me know. I'm pretty sure they're already all over YouTube by now, but if you want to see it from me, just let me know in the comments down below. May take me some time to get to it. Got a lot of content to work on, but this part I just usually just throw on some music and just throw pieces on the sticks to make sure everything's together. Now the stick part is it can be pretty difficult in its own right. As you can see here, you have to understand how to put some pieces on. So we got some sticky tack. Definitely invest in some sticky tack, guys. It only costs you like, I guess nowadays, like $4 or $5 for a good pack. And also the second best tool of all time, the toothpick. This is also good. So look at that, just using the friction itself in order to hold that piece on. And no, this piece did not fall off during spray paint. It's like, as long as you get it in there, it kind of just holds on. It's that easy. Hit it with that 1200. That's that good stuff right there, boys. So you can see, it has the work primer on there. It is a higher grit. And we're going through it. We're going through it. Maybe like 3 layers, I think, is usually my go-to. And I try to hit every angle. I want no red. I want none of that. I want this thing fully sentinel. Now the one thing I don't do, unless requested by the consumer, is I don't put it back together in its sentinel form when it's all primed. I know a lot of people love that look, fully grayed out. I only ever did that with resin kits because I need to see how it fits with all the pieces like ready. It's like you need to do like these test fits all the time. I just don't do it with Gunpla because like with certain pieces you might rip the primer up or damage the primer just by trying to take it apart again. So I don't think it's worth the hassle. And here's a piece, some scribe work on there. As you can see on the bottom part, there's some scribe work. At the very tip, there's some scribe work. And I think on the very top part as well. So this piece looking pretty good. Yep, and there's that final layer. Now I do all my layers in one go. I don't know if anyone else like puts them to the side, lets them dry off, you know, then does them again. I just go like that because that leveler is gonna help it smoothen out anyway, you know. And get it on the sticks and put it on the board. Alright guys, that's pretty much gonna wrap up this video here and show you one more piece. In the next video, we're gonna go ahead and go through the entire process of the painting. So if you like this video, I know it's kind of different vibe for a long time. We haven't done a lot of Gunpla content, but if you're interested in that, this is the place to be. Definitely subscribe and let me know in the comments how you feel about this style. As you can see, some of my older Gunpla videos, a little bit more music, a little bit more snappy, a lot shorter though. And those videos take a crap long time to make, and it didn't really seem to hold on too well. So I think I like this style, and I can at least talk to you about the process as well, so you can see a little bit more of it. So if anything, you can implement these processes in your own work. But alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out there. I know life can be hard out there, but keep your head up, keep moving forward, and most importantly, let nothing stop you. Peace out, guys.